Hello everyone, I'm Juanita.
And I'm Ryan.
And Ryan owns 5-Star Property Service. We have made this video to inform everyone of our 2020 equipment and what we are able to do for our customer.
Here's a shot at a compact front end loader. It has a drop trailer specially designed more or less for it. Well, here's some multiple 3-point attachments for the front end loader. Here's our carry-all that we use usually for carrying logs. And we got the rear blade for snow, landscape rake, rototiller, aerator, which yes, this is actually a 3-point attachment. It's very unique that I custom built. The bricks are missing though. There's about 200 pounds of bricks that go on it. Snowblower for one of the two Simplicities I have, which also has a 5-foot Sweepster power broom. Mower deck for the Sweepster power broom tractor. Snowblower normally goes on the tractor that currently has the mower deck on it. If you're wondering why chains are on the tires, we're still at the end of winter here and spring hasn't started yet. Here's our tow mower that we use for cutting our larger properties that are 3 acres and above. Here's one of our power brooms for the John Deere's, another dozer blade. That's a 60-inch, and we got a 48-inch blower there, 2-stage. All these attachments are interchangeable on both of these tractors. They both have hitches. The only thing is one hitch is temporarily being used with the Thatcher attachment, so the other part of the hitch is at the shop. So 2 walk-behind snowblowers. Typically 2 walk-behinds are more than sufficient for us. And then we got 2 30-inch Time Masters. All of this equipment is usually always being bought or added to. Then we got all my backpacks and handheld blowers, multiple attachments for hedge trimmers, vacuums, you name it, all the little stuff. This is only tip of the iceberg when it comes to the small attachments. That's just what we could find quickly. Here we got the dump truck and tree chipper. 2 of the chainsaws that we just happened to find laying around, and then one of the unique and only pole saws on the market that has an articulating head. It's a company called EFCO. My head actually on the pole saw turns 90 degrees, so when you cut through that branch you don't get your pole saw stuck. I don't know if there's much else I can touch on. The tow mower, that we actually use more than you could ever imagine. Between the tow mower and the tractor, we get a 10-foot cut in one pass. And another thing to note is, yes, you're seeing dirty equipment because this equipment is all actively used. So here we got our enclosed trailer, by the way. Typically in the winter time, this gets parked at a property, usually apartment complexes, and one of the John Deere's gets stored in it as a mobile garage unit. Inside the trailer we have toolbox, numerous supplies, whatever is needed during the winter time, and then during the summertime it becomes a groundskeeping trailer to store the mower and push mower and that stuff in during the middle of the summer. Usually in the springtime we're too busy switching out equipment, so we use the utility trailers, which one of them's right there. I do have another utility trailer, but that's tied up with a water tank system on it because during the summertime we need a lot of water. Yeah, like I said, landscape rake, rear blade, rototiller. Rototiller is actually being used as we speak right now. I had to take it off just to get this shot. Setting all this equipment up, believe it or not, took 3 hours. But alright. Now I'm going to go a little bit into my shop, which my shop is actually located at my house. I have literally a huge garage that's attached to my house where I can just about pull any piece of equipment into my shop that I need to service. When it comes to servicing this equipment, I have a welder, I have a settling torch, I even have a chain hoist hanging from the ceiling where if I needed to I can rip an engine out of a truck. So much stuff gets done in my shop after hours that without my shop I would not be able to function. Owning such large equipment that I have, being that I'm a one-man company, I would not be able to operate if I didn't have my shop attached to my house. Anything that needs to be done typically will get done in my shop. I pull my trailers in. I completely rebuild trailers if I purchase them. Normally I will purchase equipment that needs repair, and I will spend 2 weeks to a month rebuilding the equipment. In one of the pictures there's actually my drop trailer, which actually was rebuilt just about from ground up. New fenders, frame had to be welded, paint had to be done to it. Same thing with my John Deere cab that you see. I've had that tractor for several years and it was time for it to be redone, so I pulled it in the shop, took the cab off. It basically had new metal put in where it needed to be done and was reassembled and put back on the tractor. It was about a 1 month project. But yeah, just about anything that I need to service in my shop, I just pull it into the shop and go at it. So that is one thing that's super important though when you own I'm technically a small business, but I'm a large small business when it comes to the type of work that I actually do. So having this shop is essential for what I do for a living. In this segment of our videos, you'll actually see us using the winch, which is mounted in our receiver hitch on our truck, which we'll be using to skid tree branches up the hillside of Lake Michigan, where the hillside is actually basically a 75-foot drop. Basically, we're pulling the tree limbs straight up the hill, the inclined hill, so we can get them up to the top, because there's no shoreline at the base of Lake Michigan. So we're actually pulling the tree limbs all the way up to the top so we can process them and chip them or cut them up into firewood, however we need to do. I'm one of the few companies in the area that actually can pull tree limbs up hills in the situation that we're dealing with. I've actually gotten so many calls to clean up the Lake Michigan shoreline so people can reclaim their view of the Lake Michigan for the sunrises. Opposite on the other side of the lake, then you're dealing with sunsets. But anyway, in our case, we're actually dealing with people who like to see the sun rise. And that's the case in this situation. We're pulling the tree limbs up the shoreline to get them on the top of the hill so we can remove the tree limbs. Alrighty then, in this video, this one's an interesting one because we have two problems. One, we can't use a winch because the customer has plants we need to save. Two, we can't go down the hill because there's a major road that's at the bottom of the hill that travels the Lake Michigan shoreline. So we were having no choice but to use a skylift and a zip line system to pull all the branches from the trees that we're cutting back into the customer's yard. If you think it was an interesting job, yes it was, because the skylift is sitting on top of a hill that has a 75-foot drop. So basically there's a 20,000-pound machine that's on the edge of a cliff. So yes, this was an interesting project. I wouldn't recommend the amateur doing it. Okay, this property was an interesting one, and this was not an amateur project either. There was a lot of undertaking. My 25 years experience, yeah, this one's up there. I think I've had a couple worse, but anyway, basically what this job entailed was digging out all the dirt around the side of the house because there was anywhere from 6 inches to a foot of dirt buildup. We removed it all, brought in new plants, planted the plants, installed the wood chips. A lot of the plants you actually see are plants that I have in my inventory. My company does have a well-stocked nursery, if you want to say, of plants. I did have to buy a couple grasses and small stuff, but the hostas, pontanillas, daylilies, spirea. I had pretty much everything needed for this job, and I usually always do have extra plants laying around, so I actually have a nursery stock where I store all my equipment. The backyard, that was pretty much all weeds. It was a 100 by 150-foot garden. The whole entire thing you're seeing was garden. I basically had to come in and rototill the whole backyard, destroy everything that was there, and start fresh. So basically I came in and I rototilled everything, and a couple weeks later I installed new lawn in the back, laid all the straw down. The side of the house, that was another issue because the grass that you are seeing was not grass, it was all weeds. Well, basically I had to destroy all that and plant lawn there also. What you're seeing is actually the very beginning of the grass coming up. Then in the background there was a bed there. There was some identifiable flowers there that we were able to save. We saved what we could and made a large wood bed. All the tree rings, that had all wood chips installed. All the wood chips you do see are my inventory. Basically my tree company chips up the chips and it gets put in a pile, and when I need the wood chips, I have natural wood chips to choose from. I don't put any of the pine tree chippings or debris that a person wouldn't want in a wood chip. So basically I make good wood chips out of my tree chipping service. As the title says, it's no time like snow time. I got a picture here of the dump truck. It was a pretty good snowstorm. I normally don't have that out unless it's over 12 inches of snow, which was the case with that one. But anyway, my John Deere was out. We were doing a little cleanup on a smaller snowstorm, and this thing, it will cut through 12 inches of snow like butter also. Here's my Hinker C-Series flip plow, and I say flip plow if you don't know what it is. My plow flips forward 180 degrees, which allows me to pull snow out of anywhere. I can pull up to a garage door, pull the snow all the way back into the street. If it's a 100-foot long driveway, I can pull that snow all that way, scraping down to the bare cement. I pull back, put the snow wherever I need it to go. If I have to push it up to the curb, I can push it up to the curb. If I got to push it next to the garage, I can push it next to the garage. There's virtually no shoveling with that snowplow. My tailgate salter, you may wonder about that. I don't have a bed salter because I need my bed to carry around the snowblower for the small walkways that we do. So that's why I have a tailgate salter. As to my compact utility front end loader, we call that the little $20,000 snow shovel. Reason being is if we don't want to shovel snow and it's really wet, heavy snow, we get the front end loader and it solves our problem. I do have a 5-foot rear blade on the back of it, and we normally use the rear blade for scraping sidewalks because our sidewalks are normally 5 feet wide. So literally I'll go right down the sidewalk and clear the sidewalk. Okay, now we're at the groundskeeping aspect of the videos. So what this entails is here is basically looking at a couple pictures of my larger properties. I really don't have any pictures of any small properties. I do have some, but generally I don't get a chance to even take a picture on those. These pictures just happen to be taken and I just happen to have them around. Some of you may have noticed I have that tow mower. Well, this is where that tow mower gets used. And some of you may wonder, why don't he have a Z-Track to cut these properties? Well, the reason why I don't have a Z-Track to cut these properties is, one, the tow mower is very hard to pull and I would destroy my hydro units on those Z-Tracks. Two, with these hills on these properties that I have, the tow mower would pull the Z-Track around and I would be down at the bottom of the hill. especially if the property was wet. So that's why I stick with garden tractors for the lawns that I do mow. I have operated the Z-Trax before. I have used them. I actually did own one for a period of time, but I actually got rid of it. But anyways, pretty much this should be the end of the video. So if you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you need to get in contact with me, usually YouTube is the best place. I don't put a lot of emphasis on Facebook or Twitter, a lot of the other ones. I do have a Facebook page, but I rarely ever check it. So, best place is to get hold of me on YouTube here, or just look me up on the internet, because I'm all over the internet. It's just a matter of finding me on the internet. So, any questions, like I said, just get hold of me and you can go from there. Alright? Thanks.